You know, everybody, you can grow a garden. I know that, you know that. Everybody can see beautiful flowers, but how many of you have ever grown a flower garden in your sidewalk? All right, so true story. This is a lamb's ear, okay? It's nice, fuzzy leaves, beautiful purple flowers. I did not plant this in the sidewalk, if you can actually believe that. No, actually, the mother plant grew up here above in this flower bed, which has since died. Now, luckily for me, these plants are in the mint family, which if you know mint, they will profusely self-seed, okay? Now, luckily, this plant here is beautiful. It is thriving. I'm not even sure where it actually goes into the sidewalk or if it's in between the rock wall and the sidewalk in a little tiny crack. This thing has been here for several years and it just gets bigger and bigger and is super healthy. So that kind of begs the question, how many times do we actually fertilize our plants and just, you know, waste a lot of time weeding when they'll just grow literally in the sidewalk? So let me show you a couple other things I found while weeding my sidewalk and driveway area today, and just show you just how amazing flowers are at just propagating themselves with little or no intervention from us. So let me go ahead and check it out right now and show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so I'm just moving up a few steps from the lamb's ear that I showed you. Check this out. Now this is yarrow. Anyone who's ever grown yarrow knows it spreads by the roots like crazy. It will take over an area, but it does have beautiful white flowers that are attractive to many pollinators, so it's very beneficial. However, this again is growing right in the sidewalk. Just little bit of dirt right there, and it is doing just fine. Now I'm actually gonna pull that out because I don't want that to spread. However, just kind of showing you, if you're very careful, you may be able to propagate that, transplant it if that's what you so choose. But like I mentioned before, mint itself will spread everywhere. Now this is actually an Italian mint. It's called Nipatella. It's a wonderful mint. It smells almost like a combination of oregano and peppermint. It's really awesome. However, I don't want this growing in my sidewalk. But luckily, cameo by the cat, that was not scripted, by the way. While looking down here, look what else I found. Now this is a bulb from a tiger lily. Okay, so tiger lilies grow above you here in the garden, and they're gonna drop their little bulbules, whatever. You plant them in the fall, or excuse me, you plant them now, and in the fall they're gonna make one little, basically a shoot, looks like an onion. It's gonna go dormant, and next year it'll come back and propagate. They're so easy to propagate, but you know what? If I didn't actually uncover this, there's a good chance it would have started growing in my sidewalk, which is not where I want it. So let me show you what else I found growing in my sidewalk. All right, so if I can brave the lavender here, which is usually swarming with bumblebees, to show you this right here. Now this, I don't know the actual name of this, I'll have to look it up. It's been just basically called the pink okra flower. I believe it's related to okra, or at least has a similar flower to it. I got this years ago as an annual from Baker Creek, and I think it's native to the Caribbean, so it's not gonna overwinter, right? I think it's annual anyways. However, I was not aware that this plant would self-seed. Now the sidewalk behind you there is just lined. I've only planted this once, like I mentioned, about 4 or 5 years ago, and it just profusely self-seeds. And in the spring, it's not there because it's a tropical plant, but then one day out of nowhere, usually in June, like right now I'm showing you, it just starts growing, and by July and August, it is a carpet of pink okra-like flowers. So if you ever seen okra grow, it's basically the same, but a pink version. Okay, so I don't really pull this up. It doesn't really bother me at all. But again, this is just growing into some little tiny crevice of the sidewalk. You see it down there? So these plants, like I mentioned, will just self-seed, and I've done nothing for this. I didn't plant these. They overwintered. They endured the elements all by themselves and just keep growing. So once again, don't forget how important it is for you to just let some of your garden go wild. You know, why not let some things just self-seed, and you'll have beautiful flowers you had to do no work for at all. So there are more things I'm going to show you, and we're going to check it out right now. All right, so this beautiful flower you see behind you, this is Moonflower or Datura, the official name there. Now this plant is a prolific self-seeder. So if you can imagine, it's not only growing in my flower bed where I didn't plant this, it self-seeded itself for like the last 5 years now, but it's also growing, you guessed it, in my sidewalk. So let's check it out, how it's growing over there, guys. All right, so this Datura I mentioned, I did not plant. This is self-seeded itself, not really in the sidewalk per se, but along the edge of the driveway here on the yard here. Also, more lamb's ear. So the seeds apparently have washed down the driveway have found themselves a home here. So now not only do I have one plant, I have two that have self-seeded in the edge of my driveway. Pretty cool. I didn't have to worry about planting these, fertilizing, digging them, tilling, anything like that. Plants, they want to grow, so why not just give them a shot? Okay, so let's see one more example. We'll wrap up this little sidewalk tour. All right, so they're about done blooming, but this, as you can tell, is the pink evening primrose. And you guessed it, it is a prolific self-seeder. This whole patch you see up here, which is really hard to tell now without the blooms, but this started from 5 little cuttings I actually got from my grandmother, and this has spread via the roots and by self-seeding, and it's now taken over. If I have some pictures, I'll show you this in full bloom here. Okay, but as you can imagine, it is also growing in my sidewalk. So check this out, guys, right here, little pink bloom on that. It is growing somewhere up in there. So like I mentioned, seeds will grow if they have the proper growing environment. They'll grow where you may not even think they should grow. You didn't plant them, they'll just grow and be happy. Okay, so before you go around just ripping up everything and spraying pesticides to get every little weed out of every little nook and cranny of your sidewalks and or driveways, consider this. Maybe there'll be some flowers. Okay, now there might be some weeds, sure, pull those up, but be careful not to just go, you know, laying waste and just taking everything out, because there could be some pretty cool things growing right in your sidewalk. All right, guys, hopefully you like this little tour of the sidewalk plants growing here at the Hillside Gardens. Until next time, I'll see you guys. Be good and go grow something. All right then, bye-bye.